Welcome. In a world so gregarious, there are secret, quiet places. We invite you today to elope with us to Willow Creek and discover the hidden beauty of Whispering Woods, a place where an innocent touch can magnify into a grand gesture. Let us begin. Lily led a quiet life in Willow Creek. The village itself adjoined upon Whispering Woods. Not just any woods, mind you. Old-timers here claimed it was ancient, and that some secrets lay buried under wood. If the wind just carried the right sounds, you could almost hear the whispers. Being a skeptic, I never believed much of that, but Lily, she had a liking for that quiet hum. Mornings would meet her with the sun pouring a soft golden hue through the cottage window. She would stretch out to the last bit before swinging her legs from the bed and putting on her blue gown. The kitchen was more often than not her very first stop. Jasper, the ginger tabby, or one should say, fluffy gentleman, would already be there, sitting patiently by his food bowl, as if he hadn't tasted food for weeks. Lily poured a little milk for him before she poured herself hot tea, then, more often than not, just stood there with tea in hand, staring out in her garden. The garden was bright with colors of flowers, new ones bursting out there with endearing regularity. After morning tea, washing the dishes followed, as a matter of course, along with sweeping up and tidying her cozy little home. Lily would do the simplest things in her day. Read a book, potter in the garden, walk for hours alongside the very edge of Whispering Woods. Just about everyone in Willow Creek? Deep into that forest, the very thought wouldn't enter their minds. They called it mysterious. But Lily? She had a mind with innate curiosity, and was yet to be frightened by that. Actually, she rather liked the cool, damp air that would greet you the moment you entered under those tall trees. While gathering wildflowers in the sun, at the boundary where the forest met the village, she perceived a faint sound, one of fear-inducing whimpers. Her heart just about skipping a beat. She scaled through twisted roots and slippery stones to follow the sound. This was way farther than she had ever gone before into the woods. She was bending the thick undergrowth as she went. The whimpering brought her to a small clearing. It really was lovely, with lovely rays of sunlight sneaking through leaves that yielded dappled light. And there the creature was, a very tiny, mostly bald baby bird trapped helplessly in a thorny bush. The little thing appeared so utterly helpless and distressed. Lily's first thought was, of course, I must help. She dropped down on her knees, really close, and cooed to the little one. "Don't you fret, little one. I will get you out of there," she said, with soothing reassurance. With great care, she reached into the bush. The thorns pricked her skin, but she barely noticed. Slowly and painstakingly, she freed the bird from the clutches of those ugly branches. Once released, the bird lay still in her palm, trembling faintly. So very tiny and very fragile. Lily could not abandon it now. Attempting to track down a nest, she looked around the trees, but there wasn't anything she could see nearby. Very well, she decided, speaking to the bird as much unto herself. I'll bring you home. She held her hands enveloping the tiny bird. Returning, the forest did not feel ominous or too mysterious anymore. It felt like a place where little creatures in need of help occasionally existed. At the cottage, Jasper was waiting at the door with a wagging tail. He sniffed her hands in evident wonder about her new protector. Lily quickly made her way to the workshop, an endearing little room filled with all her making paraphernalia, from which she took a small basket that she lined with soft cloth. She gently laid the tiny bird inside it. Now, sustenance. She remembered her grandmother years ago feeding baby birds. Lily mashed some berries, mixing in just a little water. With a small twig, she carefully fed the mixture to the bird. And to her joy, the little one opened its beak and swallowed. A wide smile appeared on her face. The warmth blossomed instantly within her chest. For the next few days, Lily attended to Pip without respite. He would wake up awfully early to feed him, and stay really late just to make sure he was comfortable and warm. Every day, Pip grew stronger. His little feathers began to grow denser and fluffier. The bird would chirp happily at the sound of Lily's footsteps. She loved watching him flutter his tiny wings in the basket. One morning, while Lily was sipping tea, Pip did something new. He fluttered a little, then hopped right out of his basket and landed softly on her shoulder. Lily laughed. "You're growing so large." She knew deep down the moment had come when Pip would have to leave. There was a slight pang of sadness in her heart, but a feeling of pride overwhelmed it. So, she started taking Pip outdoors for brief outings. Pip would exercise his flying skills in the safety of her garden. He'd fly between one branch and another, getting stronger with each attempt. Jasper would just sit quietly, watching them, never once trying to interfere with Pip. Finally, the day had come. Pip was truly a healthy and well-grown bird, capable of circling just above Lily's head, before landing gently on her outstretched finger. Lily carried him as far as the outskirts of Whispering Woods, back to the clearing where she had discovered him. "It's time, my little friend," she whispered, her voice slightly unsteady as she held him on her finger towards the sky. Pip looked from her face to the vast blue space above. He gave a gentle chirp goodbye, then with a last flurry of his diminutive wings, he sped into the air. There she was, watching him as he flew higher and higher, until just a tiny speck was left against the clouds. A single tear traced a path down her cheek, but it was a tear of joy. She had nurtured a life, and now that life was free to find its way into the bigger world. As Lily headed back, the forest felt again different. It seemed to whisper to her, not with riddles, but with gratitude. Now the Whispering Woods meant something to her. It was not just a storehouse of ancient secrets. It was also a place for new beginnings. After that day, Lily too kept strolling in the woods, but with a fresh mission. She would always carry with her a small bag with things that she thought could help a creature in need. She gave out water to animals that were thirsty, gathered fallen feathers for a study, and even gave gentle care to injured insects. Her fellow villagers termed her the guardian of Whispering Woods. Villagers would often see her strolling through the trees, her pace fast, yet gentle smile on her lips. She narrates stories to them about the creatures she met, about the rare flowers she found, and about the notable serenity she felt among those old trees. People gradually began to change their perception of the forest because of her stories. For them, the forest would now no longer be a place to fear, but rather a place to marvel at. One day, as she sat by the river that ran through the forest, she caught the briefest flash of orange. There was Pip. He landed on a branch not far from her, chirped excitedly, and immediately dashed further into the forest. Lily was sure that his greeting was a simple, "Hello, I'm doing great," and a joyful feeling swelled in her heart. She proceeded with her simple life in Willow Creek, but it felt full of meaning. She learned that helping another, no matter how little the gesture, would fill her with joy. She learned that nature had endless lessons to teach her. And she learned that sometimes the biggest adventures were not out there in faraway lands, but on her doorstep in the hidden heart of whispering woods. She often thought back to that day when she'd found Pip. Truly, it had changed her life. She was no longer just Lily, the girl who lived by the woods. Lily, to some extent, had become equal to the protector, the friend of all living things, and the true bearer of the whisper of the trees. She knew what she had to do, live to serve the rest of the world around her. And, in her mind, that was a pretty fine feeling. She would never lay aside the little bird, for it had taught her so much. Following the whispers of the woods would always be a part of her life, for it had never once ceased to utter something new to her.